Well, hello, you old knuckleheads. It is Jaffe. If you're wondering what in the hell this show is, allow me to fill you in and educate you on what this cocky duty thing is. One moment, I'm just getting set up so I can see the screen, so I can see the chat. There we go. Okay. Hang on. Let me get my headphones on. The show line thing is open. You can call in. Fuck you, Spazbo. Spazbo says it's too early. I just woke up and I'm tired. So if you want to know what this is, hello, fellas, and Filettis. So look, I am playing around with a couple of different formats this week. What I have found is that this particular format where we take chats in real time, and I actually have the ultra low latency turned on right now. And we, and it's rambling and it's all over the place and whatnot. I love that part of the show, but I'm wondering if it's not distracting from the second part of the show, which is when people show up just to sort of listen to debate, discussion, opining about the Vidya games. And so what I end up doing anyway is getting up early and just trolling the internet, trolling, just exploring the internet for the good topics to talk about for the afternoon show. So I figured let's just merge those two things together. Let's, so that's what this is. It's going to be me and you guys, if you're interested, looking up the news so far, trying to figure out what the show's about. And then just shooting the shit and talking. And that way I'm not going to worry about, oh no, it's distracting or it's jittery or it's all over the place. Is the sound off on the video? Hang on. There we go. Sorry about that. Fuck you, Jojo D. But anyway, yeah. So tell me if the sound's better now. I turned the gain up. But anyway, yeah. So we're gonna give it a try for this week. This will be a test, and we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Retro Queen Gamer, where's the beard? I got rid of it. I'm gonna get rid of this too. I just, change. You want change. So. See that? See, I can just take these long pauses and not feel guilty about it. So, I'm tired. I took my kid to school today, and But see, that's what I don't care. This is what I do. Sometimes I just sit and have ennui at my desk while I'm trying to figure out what we're going to talk about. Well, we can certainly talk about. Hello, Batroll from Hungary. Good to see you, pal. We can definitely talk about Will Smith a little bit. I mean, I will say. There is a much smarter, a lot of smarter people than me, but there is a much smarter person than me who is going to articulate brilliantly the reason this has caused such a shitstorm. Because it's not just what you see is what you get. I think there's a bunch of racial shit involved in people's reactions. I think there's a bunch of, red pill, blue pill masculinity confusion involved in people's reactions. I think there is a joyous desire to see the Oscars crumble in front of our eyes because these people are so fucking, wealthy and privileged and full of themselves. And it's like watching high school kids. It's like, did you know John slapped Mart today? And it's just like, dude, fuck off, So there's so many threads to this or reasons people I think are responding, even at a very subconscious level to this, that I think there is going to be a real smart man or woman out there, maybe it'll be John Oliver or something, who can kind of really bring this down into a very simple sentence to reflect what's actually happening and what's going on regarding this issue. But you know, I'll show you two things that, and we're going to talk games, I promise. But you know, how do you not talk about this the morning after it happened? So, oh god, this guy. There's this one insufferable guy on Twitter right now. Fuck it, we're just doing what I do. This is what I do. So this guy says, Mike M. He wrote me, I said, this was my comment. I said, good Lord, she has a hair condition. Big fucking deal. It's not chemo related. She's not dying. She and he are wealthy and privileged beyond belief. And Chris Rock was taking the piss, which is what comedians do, out of a public figure, meaning Jada, who was sitting front row. Jada Pinkett is not like some, she owns an exercise sports gym and she happens to be married to a famous person. She is an actress, a producer. She has her own talk show. She's fair game. And she's sitting front row at the fucking Oscars. Sorry. That's how it goes, right? But this guy, Mike M, says, I hate that you're the man that made games I enjoyed sometimes. You're pretty gross. And I wrote back to him and I said, well, what makes me pretty gross to you, sir? And he says, in short, your shitty hot takes on various issues, your cringy quips on hot button issues, your need to quickly fling off a tweet or comment without thinking for more than a split second, often offending fellow supporters and those who respected you. Just would have expected more, which was your first mistake. But that said, though, so I wrote back and I said, I'm just getting warmed up, sir, because I'm just like, fuck you, you prick. You fucking full of yourself. You would have expected more. What are you, my father? Go fuck yourself. So then I said, I'm just getting warmed up, sir. He says, what? Please, David, stop. Not only does this not make sense in context, it makes total sense in context. In other words, all of this shit that you just said, I'm just getting warmed up. Prep for more. Or better yet, you could unfollow me. People like that, these fucking pumped up, full of themselves morons, just drive me fucking crazy. Frankie Bean says, Jada Pinkett's not a saint. The jokes could have been a lot worse. She cheated on Will Smith with her son's friend who was 22. Again, that's almost irrelevant what the joke is. Mr. Edgelord, this is what I've been seeing. He says, I think it was inappropriate of Chris Rock just because she's a woman, and I can see why Will defended her, but I also think that was way too sensitive and should have taken the joke. SM says, oh no, alopecia. She has to wear a wig. The horror. I mean, so what? Right? This woman, Liana Kersner, who I follow on Twitter, and she's a game designer. I thought her thread was brilliant. Hello, Jess Belly. This is what she said. I am sick to death of the men who cannot handle conflicts involving a woman because they have this internalized nonsense that they must defend her or do something. The only thing you are required to do is treat her like a human being. Because here's what this bullshit does. It perpetuates the idea that women are weak and need defending. So we're an extra burden at work. We don't get needed constructive criticism because men don't want to hurt us. Then we're tossed for not being a team player. Women are being denied career opportunities because of this bullshit idea that we're somehow less capable of handling third parties being assholes. We get labeled too polarizing for a quarter of what a guy can get away with because other guys freak out at any conflict with a woman. And it's just like, she's right. She's fucking right. It's like, oh, he defended her honor. It's not like Chris Rock stood on the stage and said, hey, Will, after the show, I'm going to stick my cock in your wife's mouth. Right? I mean, even then, but still, it's like, okay, then, buddy, you're crossing the line. There is a sense of where society draws the line, and I am respectful of the fact, as a non-black American, I've seen the tweets where a lot of black folks are saying to me, or even white folks are saying to me, about it's different when you're black because black women in their hair and it's this thing and all this, and I'm like, okay, I'll concede that point. I wouldn't know how genuine of a statement that is. Is that true? Is that kind of like fighting words amongst black folks for things that because I'm not that experienced in that race, I can't possibly understand. Maybe. I'm open to that. But short of that, the idea that it's like, you know, you don't fucking make fun of her appearance. Why? Comedians do that shit all the time. You think people didn't talk about Sinead O'Connor back in the 90s when she was bald and all that shit? I mean, you don't think comedians don't make fun of short people, really fucking tall people? I mean, that's what they do. That's what they do. And then the Academy just standing up, giving... I mean, I'm not saying Will Smith shouldn't have his Oscar. He should have his Oscar. He earned the Oscar. I thought Andrew Garfield was better, but it's subjective. It's stupid. So, but yeah, don't take the man's Oscar away. But the idea of it being okay to have him stay in that room and have him stand on stage and get a standing ovation. It's like, are you insane? Are you insane? Well, yeah, I know. Chris Rock made a documentary about black women's hair struggles. I get it. I get it. But again, he's a comedian. It's a joke. It's not even an offensive joke. Like I said, I would get it but again, it almost doesn't matter, right? The what's the word? The power of the joke or the effectiveness or the quality of the joke is almost irrelevant. It was clearly a harmless, and some could say and would say, and that's fine, maybe tasteless, maybe a little bit of a cruel joke, but it was harmless. It was clearly not Chris Rock being disrespectful in a way that was meaningful. People seem to forget the joke Chris Rock told right before was to Penelope Cruz and Javier Bardem about it was equally sexist. It was hey, you better hope Will Smith wins, Javier, because if not, if you win and your wife Penelope Cruz, who did not win, you're going to have a rough time at home because I guess what, women can't handle losing? Well, he didn't get up and beat the shit out of Will Smith. I mean, Chris Rock. The Axiom, thank you, buddy, for the super chat. He says, alopecia Google searches helped alopecia stock go up. I can see Gucci's next runway full of alopecia models. Right. Exactly right. Thank you for the super chat. Yeah, no, I mean, look, I'm not... Everybody's got their bag of hammers. I got the ADD, my kids got the ADD, there's all this shit going on. And I'm not suggesting it was, I don't know. Anyway, let me see what Spaz has to say. Spazbo, how are you? I'm good. All right, what's up? Which one? Oh, yeah, that guy's tweet, yeah. Wait, hang on a second. Let me make sure people can hear you. They're saying they can't hear you. One sec. All right. Say something real quick, Spaz. No, that's one. It's very sexy. Okay, go.
Oh, thank you.
Go.
All right. Should I start over?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So I wanted to talk to you about the video you made yesterday about that old tweet, and in particular the part with the digital store closures.
Okay.
Because when they stop offering the games that are only the games that like it's almost impossible to get those kind of games now, like legally at least. So it kind of promotes piracy. So what do you think about that? Like how for Nintendo, I mean, hardly anyone would like buy these games nowadays anyway, but that's only because they don't offer it on the new stuff. Like for example, Nintendo, when they're closing down like their Wii,
yeah,
or Wii U, or 3DS, but that's they're all dead anyway. But still, there are some good games on there that it would be great to like buy on a newer system. But
right, I'm sure it would. I'm not saying you in all of these cases. I'm not saying you can't paint or you can't express concepts where those things are important to an individual. I get it. The scenario you're painting is for someone in that situation very valid. But my point was that every decision where anybody in life, but certainly a company, that they say yes to this, they say no to that. And so all I'm saying is that the benefit you've gotten for, let's say, a company that closes down a digital store, those things cost money. They have resources. Legal has to constantly be on their toes to make sure no one buys something and, oh, this was offensive or whatever. I mean, it's not free to keep those things running. And so what these companies are doing is saying, look, no one's buying. The amount of money we're spending to keep these running is more than we need to be spending, given the amount that it's offering to our customers at a big level. And so what they're saying is, let's take that money and we'll put it somewhere else in the company. Maybe it's hiring more programmers. Maybe it's getting a license to a game like Wolverine. Maybe it's, who knows what they use it for. Collectively, it's not all going to go to, Wolverine's probably more expensive than that. But, and so I get that it might sting for certain individuals, but the video is more globally about gamers seem to be unaware of how everything is kind of an organism that affects every other part of the body. And it's like, okay, I know you want that, but you're ignoring the reality of the situation, which is the consumers demand where the companies go. And if the companies don't listen, then the companies go out of business. So that was my only point. It's not that you can't find it annoying, but to act like it's a dumb decision and games were better back in the day and all this, it's like, all these things that these people are complaining about are also the things that finance the very giant, big, graphic, flashy games people say they love.
Right. Well, I also wanted to, I don't know if you ever said this in a video previously, but what do you think about Nintendo, where they have like a vast library of the, what's it called? The virtual console that they had on the Wii? They had tons of games on there, and they could probably like easily just for most of the games on there, probably just port them to the Switch. I mean, they've done that with some NES and Super Nintendo.
Right.
I mean, they have the infrastructure for all that.
Yeah, but do you think the reason they're not doing it is because
although they wanted to be more subscription based with their Nintendo Online?
It could be that. It could be that. It could be the amount of time. Like, it's semi-equatable, but not entirely. But if you look at like Marvel Unlimited, the kind of the Netflix of comics they have, you could say, well, why aren't all the comics on there? They have the comics. They have clearly the system to bring comics to the web. Why am I still waiting for these issues from 1974 to 1979? And it's like, well, because it takes human effort to do that, and that costs money and that costs time. And so part of it may be what you're saying. In fact, maybe a large part of it might be what you're saying about the subscription thing. And the other part of it may just be that it's like, it's not based on how the customer responds. It's not worth their time. So in the same way that if the customer says, you know what, we're going to reject your subscription service, Nintendo, I guarantee you, if that's what the customer tells them, they'll stop putting resources into their subscription service and find a different way to go about giving people their older games, right?
Yeah, well, they really tried with the N64 on the Switch when they made it like 50. Like they tried, but the way they tried was like really bad.
Yeah,
at first it was bad, and then I hear it's actually better, but there's a lot of games that need to be on there before I even think about getting it.
I think though the main thing I was trying to communicate in that video was that these vocal minority gamers seem to act like they have a pot to piss in when it comes to logic. If they would just say, I don't like this. I like games the way they used to be. I don't like the way they're changing, and that makes me personally upset. I'd go, yeah, no, I can see that. But they don't say that. They stand on a soapbox and they talk about how this is wrong and gamers don't want this and these companies don't listen. And I'm like, motherfucker, the companies that don't listen are maybe like Bartlett Jones. We're not in business anymore because we didn't listen. And we didn't give you what you wanted, and so we couldn't afford to keep the lights on. The companies that are in business because they are listening. It's just they're not listening to you. And I get it. It's annoying.
listening to their wallets.
That's what else would you want them to listen to, though? So, all right, Spaz. Thanks, buddy.
Well, there was one other thing. Someone did a comment recently. Oh, yeah, it was the DRM
Yeah, yeah.
thing. So I just wanted to say, most of the time, I don't mind DRM when I play games on Steam. The only problem I ever have is when it impacts the game's performance. Or
Sure.
it does something that like causes the game itself to, not run the way it's supposed to.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think people misunderstood the video, and I watched it again because I was clear. Sometimes I'm like, am I not articulating that well? And I'm like, no, I was pretty clear. I just think people don't, if it goes off their narrative, they choose to sort of listen to the parts that support their narrative and ignore what I'm saying. I'm not saying these are good things. I'm not saying that DRM is good. I'm saying compared to no DRM. I'm saying that if you look at the market has made a decision and said, we're okay with it. Literally, Steam has 82% of the digital market and it's DRM. Good Old Games is continually struggling to stay relevant, and they currently have about 7 or 8% of the market. So if I get it. Yeah, DRM is not great, but clearly that's not as important to the audience as lots of games, Steam sales, on and on and on. That's all I was saying. I wasn't saying it was good, but people seem to think I was like supporting, I think DRM's awesome.
Oh, and I also wanted to say what the original tweet said, like at the top, I think it was something about, it mentioned like Stadia and
Yes.
and Epic Games, and like how do gamers not like these services compared to Steam, and aren't gamers supposed to be like tech savvy about it?
That was my tweet, not his tweet, but yes, my tweet.
Well, I mean, I'm talking about your tweet the whole time anyway. I don't even remember what his
Oh,
tweet
well,
was.
I mean, my tweet was in 2019 before,
Right.
when Epic was just launching and Stadia was like, hey, we're going to do this thing. I'm not, now it's easy to look back and say Stadia's business model was a clusterfuck. I said that from day one once it actually launched. But when they announced it, they didn't announce their business model. And so I was just like, hey, this is cool. This is interesting. Let's give it a chance. And my tweet was more about, gamers, just anything that seems different and unusual. It's not that I have a problem with them disliking it, but could you at least kind of keep an open mind and see what it is for a few minutes before you shit all over it?
Well, I just wanted to talk about how I haven't looked at it recently, but Epic Games launcher is like just completely terrible.
Okay, well, I mean, wait,
I
I got to get rolling. I got to get rolling, Spaz. I got to prep the show.
Okay.
I'll talk to you soon, though, bud. Thanks, man.
Okay, bye.
There goes Spaz. I don't disagree. I think there's a lot of problems with the Epic Games Store, but I still use it when they have a game I want. All right, let's check the news of the day. Oh, let me get that super chat from my good friend up here. Jerry A., thank you, buddy. He's been a member of the Diet Soda Soldiers for 13 months. Gamers, he says, I'm sick of all the sequels and remakes. Also, gamers, I want to play games from 3 generations ago on my new system. Yeah. And I saw another tweet last night, Jerry, where the guy's just like, why is it always sequels? The company, these businesses don't take chances. I'm like, stop buying the sequels, and then they'll make something new. Bacon says, Jaffe, can you get Tommy Tallarico on the show so he can discuss how he attempted to be a CEO of Amico? Tommy's going through some shit right now. He's been public about the fact that his dad is hospicing at home. Hospicing, is that the verb? Hospicing at home. And obviously he's, his company is struggling at the moment. I think I like Tommy as a human. I think I would not have Tommy on and play softball. I would have Tommy on and ask questions I want to know, and you probably want to know, and I don't think he's probably in the headspace, and I wouldn't want to do that to the guy. Plus, I haven't been doing interviews lately for a variety of reasons. Okay. All right, let's take a look. This is how I do it. This is how I mean, not that it's some kind of classy, amazing process, but this is how I figure out what we're going to talk about in the show. So I have a list on Twitter of game news, and I have about 28 members in it, and that's my first stop. So I haven't even looked at the gaming news today. Let me refresh, and let's just see what should be discussed, debated, analyzed tonight. What's PlayStation's answer to Game Pass? Okay, that's interesting. All right. See, I don't read it yet, but I just open it so I can have it waiting. Let me close some of this shit. That's more Chris Rock shit. Okay, who's this guy? This is that same guy. Okay. So PlayStation Spartacus could learn from Disney Plus to be a Game Pass rival. I think that's interesting to hear Games Radar's take on how they can compete without dropping day one. Maybe that'll make it into the show. We'll look at it in a minute. Not enough people on my show give a fuck about One Piece. At least they don't talk about it that much, so I'll skip this one. I know it's exciting for One Piece fans. Sad says, I do vote with my wallet, but I can't do anything about how other people spend their money, so I will continue to complain online as part of the vocal minority. I don't even think that's bad, man. I think it's okay to complain. I just think if you're complaining and you're saying that you speak for the trees like the fucking Lorax of video games, that's where I take issue. Like I said, if someone comes out and says, I don't like this, I don't like that, I'm like, cool, of course, share your opinion, let's talk about it. But it's when someone comes out and says, us gamers are sick of this, we don't like this, and I'm just like, motherfucker, us gamers are buying this shit in droves. So understand where you sit in the pecking order of influence. That's what I get annoyed at. Yeah, there is a Spartacus announcement this week is what I hear. Brett Moore is saying Greg Miller says Sony's announcement's supposed to make... Well, so if you don't know, Greg Miller, Kind of Funny, put up a video or a tweet or something yesterday, I forgot, I think it was a video, saying we're moving our PlayStation-centric show this week a day up or 2 days up because there's a handful of news stories that he knows are going to be dropping. So he's not... He was talking plural, so... it may be more than just Spartacus. It may be Spartacus. It may be God of War release day. It may be a new game. It may be all of these things. We'll see. So, but it definitely seems like it will be a interesting week. Elden Ring beaten in 20 minutes. Whatever. I don't know Coffee Talk, but sadly this guy died at 32. Fammy. Rest in peace, good sir, or good ma'am, or good they, family. I don't know I have no idea who they are. Let's see. Do I identify more as a dev or gamer these days? A gamer. I don't identify as a dev at all anymore. I do some dev work with movie games, but I'm a gamer more than a dev, of course. I'm just scrolling. Taylor Hawkins. Oh, the drummer. Yeah. Oh, Fupy says maybe God of War Ragnarok buyers get 2 months of Spartacus. Why did I just go quiet? I honestly just went quiet because I'm having a thought. I'm having a think. My think is this, that I'll scroll through this, but I almost wonder if planning the show live ends up not being terribly compelling, but what is maybe more compelling is a morning show where there is no structure and there's an afternoon show where there is. And so because it's clear there's a lot of people talking in the chat. And so maybe I should just focus on that. And if there's a specific game story you guys want to talk about, then we'll talk about the game. Right? Come on now. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do for now. We're going to do it for now. Hang on. Let me move this over here then. Family Guy Dog says, yes, I have a topic. It's not displaying my link. Gravity, what's your topic, baby? Hello, Craig Hooligan. Welcome to oh my God, welcome to Cult Calypso. Once again, the goddamn big pomp and circumstance for you being a Cult Calypso member is not popping, which sucks. I'm bothered by that, but you get a big long. I gotta put stuff in it for you first, sir, Craig. Let me put in. There's love, of course. There is the sequel to Elden Ring that only you and I get to see. That goes in there. There's some Blistex for your lips. And here's old Reese's wrapper. There you go, baby. Stir it up with love, and there you go. Craig, take a big puff. And I'll take one, too. Thank you, Craig. I appreciate it, buddy. Will they take Will Smith's skin out of Fortnite? Is his skin in Fortnite? I don't know. Yeah, whatever your topic request is, let me know, man. The compelling aspect is that all the highbrow Euros like me, says Fupi, can weigh in during the earlier show. That's true. That's true. I mean, look, if there is big breaking game news, we can talk about it. Seems a little odd that PlayStation's YouTube channel had a community message phrased in an Elden Ring message. I mean, I saw Xbox do that as well, actually. So, okay, well, Gravity, just type. What do you want to what do you want to talk about? I can't tell you why things get pushed out. I don't know why YouTube allows certain things. So, talking about Tunic, I didn't like Tunic. I didn't give it a terrible amount of time. I gave it about 2 hours, and you know, I didn't like Death's Door either. There's something about both of those games that are obviously very similar that just they really rub me the wrong way. Isn't that weird? I thought the manual stuff in Tunic, where you find the pages of an old retro 8-bit manual, was really cool. But there was something about that. There was something about that game that and Death's Door that just felt weird to me, man. Just felt weird. Gravity says he wants to talk about the next Uncharted game should address one important narrative criticism from Game Rant. All right, well, let's see what that's about. Hang on. That's an Oh, are you looking at the wrong screen? You guys aren't even looking at a good screen, are you? Here you go. That's what you should be looking at. My beautiful visage. Hang on. Where did my screen go? Jaffe Yule so-and-so. All right, let's put it up here. Hang on. Game Rant. Okay, hang on. I will check it out. Okay, here we go. It's an interesting topic. Okay. I'm looking for it, though. Game Rant. What did you say it was about? It was Uncharted game. Okay, here we go. This is from February. Goddamn. The next Uncharted game, if there is one, should definitely work towards alleviating its long-standing problem of ludonarrative dissonance. That's what I say to that. A lot of people talk about that, Gravity, but I mean, again, it's. Do I agree? Here's what I'll tell you. If we're talking game design, sure. I think the very best video games are the ones that manage, and it is very difficult to have the world building and the narrative seamlessly integrated to the moment-to-moment mechanics. And what if you don't know what they're talking about? It's been a long-standing criticism of games in general, but certainly something like Uncharted, that Nathan Drake is basically a mass murderer, right? It's like, it doesn't make any sense. He's this aw shucks kind of guy, but he's murdered thousands of human beings. Why is that not dealt with? It's like, well, how many, because it's just not. I mean, if you want to make a kind of game that does, I think it could be a compelling game. But I also think sometimes, even in the movies, these things are metaphor, right? They're not meant to be one-to-one. So if you look at, like, even, I remember Raiders of the Lost Ark back in the day, they're just killing people left and right in that fucking movie. I mean, Indiana Jones just shooting his fucking machine gun, and Marion's in the cockpit of that weird Nazi fighter just killing Nazis on the runway. And yeah, they're Nazis or they're bad guys, of course, just like they are in Uncharted. But it's less about a literal story where Marion is killing Nazis. I mean, it's part of that, but it's more about the metaphor of, getting in there and being a badass and taking control. It's working on that level more than it's working on, wait a minute, Now these are human beings with families. I don't think it's necessary, but when it can be done, I think it's wonderful. I think then you do get much more of of an artistic experience. Um, no, Carlos is asking me why my Tunic response is. He says, "Is it because Tunic feels like one of those Game of the Year war bait games?" No, it's not that. It's not that. It's just it feels. I don't like the protagonist in Death Door. I don't like the protagonist in Tunic. Um, I don't know. It just doesn't compel me. I mean, I'd have to really sit and think about it, and I can't imagine that would be fun to watch somebody do. But my gut is that it just feels like not for me, not for me. Um, you look forward to me being on GI Jane 2? Yeah, you keep my fucking wife's name out of your fucking mouth. Okay, Morgan says thoughts on Tulsi Gabbard being a joint Russia-India agent. Is this real or is this some crazy left-wing conspiracy? Onalik says how much devs, director, or and team generally make. It really depends, man. Oh, Blake, you're there. I'll bring you in a second, bud. It really depends. You know, I'll just tell you what I was making in 2005 or 6, which was the sort of the height of my powers in the video game industry. My biggest year was like 540K, but that was with bonuses from one of the biggest games of that year, right? My salary usually, as a director, lived anywhere depending on where I was in my career from like 120 to 250. These days, I imagine someone like a Neil Druckmann or a Cory Barlog make substantially more than that. But it depends on the job, depends on the company, depends on the where you are. So you'd have to be a little bit more specific. I appreciate that, though. Thank you so much for thank you so much for the super chat. I got to show you guys something that somebody just put on the Discord. Okay, hang on. Morgan's talking about she's taking Russian cash, talking about Tulsi Gabbard. I'll look it up. I haven't really seen anything. So this guy Cap1 just put this up on the whatever the fuck it's called. Check this out. This is pretty good. Let's see. Yes, that's my screen. Fuck you. If you can't see what it says invaded by dark spirit Will Smith. Come on now, that's pretty fucking good. Bacon says, Jaffe, the Jackass movies have full-blown nudity in it. Yeah, we watched, Cult of Calypso members and above watched Jackass the other night. I had never fucking seen that movie. My goodness, that movie was hilarious. Jackass nudity, how come games can't have nudity without being marked adult rating and not allowing on consoles? Yeah, I don't know. Ask Sony, because they probably think that is a bridge too far for them and they don't want to deal with the PR pain in the ass of it. That's probably why. Okay, let me bring in Blake real quick. Blake, what's up? Breco.
How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you? What's up?
Good, dude. I had some thoughts on the 3DS discussion. I was sitting in there for a bit, so bringing it back a little bit.
Okay.
So, as someone who took a break from gaming, and I grew up gaming, but I did take a break from gaming, and I think that I was pretty narrow-minded about gaming for a long period of time. I didn't play a lot of the DS titles or the Vita titles, for example, but now I'm extremely interested in them. And it's nice that Vita still has their digital offerings, still going on for the unforeseen future. But, for example, recently, when Metroid Dread came out, and I beat that ended up being one of my favorite games of the year. I know how much of a fan you are of it. But they ended up being one of my favorite games of the year, and I was just craving more, and I wanted to play more Metroid games. And the only game that you can play on the Switch service is through the NES Online, and that's the original Metroid.
Okay.
And there was no way for me to quench my thirst for these other titles, and I just feel like that's such a like Nintendo really dropped the ball there to make a lot of money based on the hype from Metroid, by not having their other titles available for purchase. You see what I'm saying? So I think
I hear the language you're speaking. I know it's English. I comprehend. I think it's, I mean, let me put it this way, Blake. Last night, about 2:00 in the morning, I couldn't sleep. I woke up and I really was craving Pizza Hut. But Pizza Hut isn't close enough to me to deliver, and even if they were, they're closed.
Yeah, but they'll open again tomorrow.
Maybe. I'm just saying it's like I get it. I get that there are things that companies do that people don't like. I'm just saying, and what you're saying, maybe they did leave some money on the table. But
yeah.
It's not, and people mistake this. They think I'm saying people can't complain about decisions that companies make. Of course, I get it. I'm just saying that and I get what you're saying. It's like, yes, that does suck. That's unfortunate. But,
I mean, most industries have kind of adhered, one point or the other. It's preserving backwards compatibility. Even video games are starting to go that direction.
But they are conserving backwards. Well, not okay. Conserving backwards compatibility is kind of those words don't go together. Are you saying conserving games, or are you saying having backwards compatibility?
Having backwards compatibility.
Okay.
Just having the option. I mean, Xbox has obviously set a high bar, recently, with all that, but you're starting to see others follow suit. I just
go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I just wish Nintendo would, because this seems to be a consistent, theme with them. I mean, it's not like you're obligated to buy games digitally, and you can continue to, purchase physically if you so choose. But it does suck in titles like Gran Turismo 7, where the disc is useless if Sony's servers go down, or they have an update or whatever it may be, and then something goes wrong with the database during the update.
Have you played the Gran Turismo 7 on the since they've put it back online?
I logged back in because they gave away the 1,000,000 credits, and I spent all the 1,000,000 credits, and then I logged back off.
Why did you log back off? Is it not good?
No, I think Gran Turismo 7 was my game of the year, but I'm not a big fan of the practice. It didn't really.
No, I know. Okay, but wait, you bought it, and did you take it back? Is what I'm saying. Did you get your money back?
No, I haven't taken my money back.
Okay, so you don't really care.
To get my money back.
You don't really care then. You can't. You say you care, and it kind of annoys you. But if you really cared, you'd get your money back and say, "I'm not going to support your business anymore," right?
Well, I did get it from someone who works at Sony for half off, so I'm not going to go take it to him.
But you understand my point, though, right?
I understand.
I mean, I get it, and if people are just saying, no, Jeffy, I'm just complaining. Like, here's the deal. I can complain about Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. It's one of the worst fucking movies ever made. It's crap. But I'll be there day one to see the new Indiana Jones. And because I would rather have crap than nothing when it comes to Indiana Jones. And so, but I can still complain about it. But I'm not saying, I'm not dumb enough to go, not dumb, but I'm not vacant enough on the issue to act like my opinion should sway a company. They're swayed by the majority. The majority doesn't. The majority doesn't care.
I understand that, but the majority of people don't care about old movies either. If you ask kids nowadays, they're just going to say, "Oh, if it's not the latest and greatest, I don't want to watch it." That's the way that I was when I was growing up too.
That's right.
So, but it's nice to be able to have the ability to go back and watch these classics like Indiana Jones and Star Wars.
Of course, yes, it's nice. It's nice. But here's what I'll tell you though, is that and I don't know anymore because the days of Blu-ray and physical have almost gone the way of the dodo. But if you remember, Lucas would re-release Star Wars every fucking time somebody burped. It was just like, we found 2 frames of Jabba the Hutt. We're releasing a new edition. Now it's HD. Now, when those things make money, the companies show up and do it. But you didn't.
They're
But
still doing that for Blu-rays,
right.
4K UHDs.
Okay,
So,
but where is the extra special sexy edition of Howard the Duck or Red Tails from Lucasfilm? Nobody wants it, nobody cares, so they don't make it. Maybe there's a specific group that does, but they're not big enough to make the elements of the company move.
but it's available digitally somewhere still. You know, I mean, Nintendo's cutting off support entirely to a huge catalog of titles.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it's a bummer just not to be able to play those things. Like, obviously they're a company that can do whatever they want, but you know, as someone who's recently fallen in love with Castlevania and Metroid and stuff like that, you know, I mean, it's you can't get your hands on those titles unless you go spend a lot of money aftermarket.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not, that's not lost on me. I get it. I get that that's sucky, but that wasn't really the point of my video. I can empathize. I can be there with you and hold space for you as you mourn, because I agree with you. It sucks, but
yeah. Well, and especially growing up as a PC gamer primarily, because I've never had to worry about that. I've always been able to play my games from, you know, way back in the day.
I got it.
You know,
I got it, Blake. I got it, baby. I'm moving on. Come on now. You got to recognize the cues. You got to recognize the social cues of I've disengaged. I want to move on.
Here, Jaffe.
Don't be. I got an audience to entertain. Come on, Blake. Give them something new, or I'm hanging up.
All right, buddy. I'll talk to you
later. All right, Blake. Thanks, bud.
Bye.
Blake, you old stone so-and-so. Morgan says if Nintendo is the only modern system out of the three that ditched their immediate previous system, and technically the Switch is Gen 9, and they do a Switch 2, I don't know where she's going. They're going with that. Okay. Okay. Not anyone in particular, says Davey, but good people complain about games so much and never seem to enjoy them. It's your choice what to do with your life, your money. Well, we did a little bit the other day when we were talking about just going to the website and kind of the PlayStation blog and just remembering when most of the video game content that you would see online was, or not online, in magazines, was positive. And it wasn't so toxic, and it wasn't so whiny and complainy. And I'm not saying people don't have a right to complain. Of course they do. Of course they do. A lot of times complaining is how things get done. I'm not opposed to it. I'm just saying that it's a lot. It's a lot of negativity. I contribute to it as well. I don't know. Maybe just fundamentally. Who did I hear say this? Somebody got their Oscar last night. I think it was the woman who won for West Side Story. And it was very interesting. I think it was her. And she said something like, the world is such a sad, some other negative word, place, that it's nice that sometimes dreams come true, or something like that. But yeah, I mean, maybe just people are waking up to the fact that, you know, there's just too much shit to not complain. It's just a lot, you know, maybe we're getting to a tipping point with unregulated capitalism in one hand and fucking dictatorships in other parts of the world, and it's just people are just like, you know what, I'm tired. I'm fucking tired. I don't care anymore. Of course I'm going to be negative. If you swim in a cesspool, what are you going to be? Wake up positive? I don't know. I don't think I'll make a video about the slapping incident, only because Anish Dadaran says, because most of the stuff on my channel is gaming. Even this show, if we like doing a show like this in the morning where it's just sort of shoot the shit, I'll probably do this over on Twitch and not YouTube, just so it doesn't kind of contaminate the main show where people come and go, this isn't about video games. He's talking about Will Smith. What the fuck? Brett Moore says, it's said when humans have all their basic needs met, they always find something to complain about. I mean, one could argue that is evolution, right? That is necessary, that it's like, once we're stable, what else can we fix? So maybe it's fundamentally positive, but when you're living it though, it's like, damn, everything's so fucking negative. Look, I mean, like I said, I dive into the muck too. I would love to maybe be less negative sometimes, but sometimes, you know, it's fun to talk about shit that annoys you. What do you want from me? SM is not wrong. He says, ignorance is bliss. Stop watching the news and life becomes better. I think there's a great deal of truth to that. A lot of therapists, we talked about this online the other day when Rob was here. He was talking about his therapist saying, look, maybe you should get off social media for a little bit. It's probably not good for you to be on it as much as you are. I think it's a great prescription for a lot of people. It's a fucking, stop watching the news as much. Absolutely. I agree. Nothing's going to happen. If the world's blowing up, it's going to blow up anyway. Many complainers don't realize they're also the biggest enablers, says Fupi. Yeah, that's true. Jerry A says, I think it's relevant. I mean, we can talk about the slap all day long. I mean, I thought that, look, the slap was, like I said, the slap to me, I've already talked about it, but the slap to me was interesting because it represented so much. And to me, I mean, let's just go to Twitter real quick, because I got so much, I've gotten what is it, being a real man for mocking a black woman about I don't care if she's black or white, what does that matter? Being a real man for blocking a black woman about a chronic disease on international live television. Yeah, it is weird that people seem like they're defending Will Smith. I just don't get it. I don't get it. It's this weird. I don't get the masculinity part of it, where it's like, where it's like defending his wife, right? I don't get it. But I've said this before. I don't get a lot of, maybe I'm more in touch with my feminine side. I don't fucking know, but I don't get a lot of the, some of the masculinity training some of these guys had that I guess I never had. Because I'm just like, yeah, like I said earlier, if somebody says, hey, Will Smith, I want Jada to suck my dick after the show. Okay, that's a little different. He's making a fucking joke about his wife's hair. He wasn't making fun of a medical condition. Come on now. Pixel Bit, have I ever... I don't even like how it's called laid hands. It's called hitting. Have I ever hit somebody? Yes, a couple of times. Prog Rob says he wasn't defending his wife. He was defending his image of himself. I think he's trying to keep his marriage fucking together is what I think. I don't know what's in the water. Maybe it's one hell of a prenuptial. I don't fucking know. Maybe she's got dirt on him. And I'm not opposed to people that swing. I'm not opposed to people who are in open marriages. I whatever gets you through the night, makes you happy, I'm down with. As long as you're kind to people, what do I give a fuck what you do? There's no right or... I think marriage is stupid anyway, for the most part. But the idea, though, that it doesn't seem that Will Smith has done a very good job being able to handle that. I mean, I'll tell you what, I'm a pretty liberal guy, but if I was in an open marriage and my wife went on television or anywhere and was like, I'm having a better time fucking these random men than me, I'd be like, okay, well, that's cool, but we're done, at least in that regard. But it's clear he's dealing with a lot of shit. I mean, this is not a guy who is well. I think that much was clear last night. Zandatsu says it would have been cooler if Jada went up there and slapped him. I mean, I guess, but for what? Like I said earlier, you're a goddamn public figure. Jada is. You're a star. You're a talk show host. You're a fashion icon. And you're sitting at the front row of the goddamn Oscars. I don't know, he made fun of me. Yeah, because he's a fucking comedian, you moron. What do you want him to do? Salvador says, come on, I always go to the children's hospital to make fun of their misfortune. Yes, you're right, but that's not the same. It's not the same. I get she has a medical condition, but it's not like, like Metalhead, it's not life-threatening. And he wasn't saying, ha ha, you have alopecia. She has a medical condition that I guess makes her hair fall out, and yes, makes her susceptible to other things and all. I'm not saying it's nothing, but if you're so fucking sensitive about it, and she's gone on record, by the way, she's been like, hey, I have to make friends with this. I'm making sure I shave my head so people know I didn't have some brain injury, like where they had to operate on my skull. And so it's not like she went to the Oscars and sat in the back with a wig on. She sat front and center with her hair or lack of hair as part of her fashion statement. And he took a crack at the way she looked. Not saying she looked bad. I thought she looked beautiful, actually. G.I. Jane is not some role to, G.I. Jane was hot. What do you want? This is fucking Demi Moore at the prime, man. Ricky Gervais was a lot. Oh yeah, Ricky Gervais. Yeah, I saw Bacon earlier. Brett Moore says Ricky Gervais was a lot harsher with jokes, and everyone knew it was just a joke. No one slapped him. He got invited back. He was hilarious. And I saw Bacon Magma earlier going, well, what if somebody made a trans joke? I'm like, I thought Ricky Gervais is one of my favorite jokes of Gervais was when he was talking about Caitlyn Jenner, and he said, it was a big year for Caitlyn Jenner. She got a Woman of the Year award. Doing a lot for trans women. He says she didn't really do a lot for female drivers because that was the year she hit somebody with her car and killed someone. It was hilarious. But he wasn't making fun of a person who was trans because they were trans. He's not making fun of Jada Smith because she has alopecia. Come on now. I don't care. Hair is different I'm sick of seeing that too. Hair is different for women. No, it's not. No, it's not. You know what? Okay, then if hair is different for women, then short guys like me get to punch people whenever they make a short joke. Okay, I mean, there's a lot of things that are different for women and different for men, but ultimately, it was a dumb... It's like being upset with Colin Moriarty for saying a day without a woman, peace and quiet. Was it the world's best joke? No. Was it kind of tasteless? Sure. Are there bigger things to think about? Yeah, this was performative. This does not feel like a response to a joke. This feels like Will Smith had some kind of ego hit and felt like he had to defend his wife, even though he was laughing at the joke. And don't tell me it's all black women because, what's her name, Lupita, was sitting next to Will Smith. She was on camera. She was laughing at the joke. Everybody was laughing at the joke except Jada. And the minute he saw Jada one laughing, suddenly it's on. Come on now. Come on now. Yeah, I think that may be true. Game Patty says, I think Will Smith was already pissed and just exploded on Chris Rock. Could be. Could absolutely be. The last thing I'll say about it, Cap1 in the Discord put this up. I guess somebody in Twitter wrote, I'm sorry, this is not me speaking. This is somebody in Twitter. He says, I'm sorry, but Will is a wholesale bitch in my opinion. Jada's been embarrassing his ass for 2 decades for creaming for Pac, Tupac, sleeping with young R&B motherfuckers, letting Future talk about how he'd smash Jada, and now all of a sudden you got hood energy with a comedian who's smaller than you are over a G.I. Jane joke. Will, you don't have the same energy for Future or any of them R&B boys. You know why? They would have had Will spread out on the floor like some crunchy peanut butter. Will is dead wrong for acting up. Kudos to Chris Rock for holding his shit together. Now go stomp MIB the fuck. So, I mean, look, it's not wrong. You think if it was The Rock who stood on stage and said the same thing, he would have gone up there and slapped The Rock? Come on now. Come on now. anyway, whatever. It is what it is. Do with it what you will, fellas. Let's change the topics. Let's change the subject. If The Rock was making that joke, Will would have kept his ass in the chair, says him. Yeah, of course he would have. It's all performative horse shit. Right? I mean, I got no issues. You want to defend somebody, you want to stand up for somebody's honor, that's fantastic. Go do that. But I think the guy, honestly, I think Will Smith should have slapped, after he slapped him, they should have carted him off to fucking jail. I know that what's-his-face didn't want to press charges. Great. But come on, man. I mean, it's horseshit. All right. I did see the Unity demo. Yes. I thought it was cool. But ultimately, those kind of demos don't really... All it really says is the state of graphics are advancing. And I'm like, great. But the games aren't going to look like that for a very, very, very long time, because that's all it was that lady's face. And that lady's face looked amazing. And I think we are getting there in pre-rendered CG, where you can absolutely make a video or a movie where it looks real as a real person. I think that shit's amazing. But, you know, do I think Bloodborne will ever come to PC? It's weird that it hasn't. My guess, you know what? My guess is now it will. My guess is that what was happening, because Bloodborne, I think, has only sold about 3 million copies, is Sony probably looked at it and said, there's just not enough interest, you know. But I wonder with Elden Ring now, Sony might be looking at it and going, there could be some money here. I don't know, though. But I think up until Elden Ring, I think it was clear they didn't really have any interest in it. Game Day Sam says, how was Resident Evil? We watched Resident Evil as part of Pot and Popcorn the other night. It was terrible. And it wasn't terrible in a fun Birdemic, The Room kind of way. It was terrible in a... just really boring and poorly shot, inconsistent, kind of, it was just really uninteresting, you know. And then I'll tell you what, we went from that to Jackass, Jackass Forever, the new one. And I was high as a kite watching Jackass. And I'll tell you something, man, that movie, when you're high, is a goddamn delight. It's a goddamn delight. To such a degree that my ex came over after, and my kids were here with some friends, and we were going to watch something, and I was just telling them about Jackass, and then one of their friends had seen it, and we were both like, let's just watch. I watched Jackass 3 or whatever it was immediately after watching it for the first time. Right? I mean, that's how fucking crazy and batshit that movie is. It was delightful. But yes, no, Resident Evil was absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible. Yeah, I remarried my ex after watching Jackass. Well, what was funny about her is I was like, there's no way she's going to like this movie. And so I said, look, I'm going to put it on for 10 minutes, but you know, she's just, there's no way. It's just not her. And it was so funny to watch her because every time something happened that was just insane. If you haven't seen the movie, I mean, you know, they do the cup test where it's a guy wearing a cup and they hit him in the balls in all kinds of ways. And the last one is a guy literally with a pogo stick bouncing on this guy's testicles until they rupture. I mean, I'm telling you, this is what it was. And I looked over her during all these things, and she's trying not to smile, but she's just shaking her head and closing her eyes like I can't believe I'm watching it. But she watched the whole goddamn thing. No, we did not watch Spider-Man. We were going to watch Spider-Man last night, and things got boring. Oh, I was going to bring that guy into the chat. Sorry, pal. Come back if you want. I'll bring you on. Will Smith has just opened the floodgates for so many more comedians to make jokes about Jada. I mean, yeah, somebody was saying earlier, well, you know, Chris Rock Chris Rock made fun of Jada on an earlier Oscars. I think it was 2016. It wasn't last year. There wasn't even a host last year. Hello, Jarvie. Yeah, but I mean, it was still funny, right? The joke he made then was actually, he says Jada Smith is boycotting the Oscars. That would be like me boycotting Rihanna's panties, which is I wasn't invited, right? And it's funny. I mean, Jada Smith's not a movie star. She's in TV shows. Last movie she was in, I guess, was Set It Off. Maybe she was in that. In The Matrix, the second one. Those are the last two big things she did. And then she was on Gotham and a couple of things. And now she's got her web series or TV show. No one's inviting her to the Oscars. I tell you who looked fucking gorgeous last night, though. I tell you who looked like, holy shit, she's a beautiful woman. Was that Rachel Ziegler, the girl who plays Maria in West Side Story? Holy shit, man. God damn, that woman is beautiful. You're impressed I know what Set It Off is? Come on now. Nikki T, thank you so much for being a member for 7 months. I appreciate it, buddy. He says, I know this isn't TMZ, Jaffe, but a few weeks back, Corey Barlog tweeted a picture of him and his ex saying happy anniversary. Are they back together? Well, this was an interesting thing, right? So, this was an interesting thing to me because I had mentioned somewhere on one of my streams, Corey and his wife being divorced and then people were like, what? You're giving inside information. You shouldn't say that. You must know that because you know Corey. And I'm like, God, I hope I didn't just say something that was off limits. I would never do that intentionally. And so I went back through the threads and no, they had talked about it. They had talked about that they were splitting and on and on and on. And so then it turned out that they're back together now. So, I guess good for them. I don't know. I even if I knew what was happening in Corey's personal life, I would never share it. That's not my place to. But certainly, if the guy was happily married and then he got back to it, that happens in a lot of marriages, and I think that's great. The billionaire tax is actually going into effect. Good. Are you rich? Says Taurus Sabora. Define rich. I'm not, I sold my video game company, buy a Ferrari rich, but I would say the vast majority of people watching this stream are richer than the vast majority of people on the planet. So define rich, but am I comfortable enough that I can sit on my ass and do what I love all day? Yes. But will I always be? I don't know. It depends on how well sitting on my ass and doing what I love all day goes. Yeah, Corey he didn't deactivate his Twitter, or he did, but then I think he still has a Twitter, but now he's not using it to do anything but follow people. I'm not sure though. Have I finished Elden Ring? No, Artorius. I have not finished Elden Ring. I love it. I'm playing the shit out of it constantly, discovering new things, but I'm so in love with being in the world and leveling up and then exploring and then finding more of the lore. And I don't know when I'll finish it, but I love it. Jaffe is worth $4 million. That's what that site says. That site is not correct. SM says I make $60K a year. Mediocre as fuck in my country, but rich as fuck compared to a lot of other people. Right. Exactly. Did Jaffe give up Diet Coke for orange juice? No, but it's something weird is happening, that I am starting to become less interested in drinking Diet Coke, but replacing it with orange juice isn't much better, because the sugar. But the fact that Will Smith walked up there and slapped Chris Rock tells me he thinks Chris Rock is beneath him. Yeah, there was nothing, there, you know, like I said, there was nothing badass about Will Smith last night. I wasn't like, yo, fuck, that motherfucker takes care of business. I'm like, you go up there and you fucking slap The Rock, and then I'll know you take care of business, Will Smith. But slapping Chris Rock, that's like me slapping, you know, Wee Man from the fucking Jackass movies. I mean, and I say it because I'm a short guy. Hell will freeze over if Jaffe beats Elden Ring. I let me tell you something, Spaz. For a game I have over 100 hours in or close to it, and for a game I'm addicted to, I still am with you. I doubt I'll finish that game. I'm sure there will come a point where I will encounter a boss that I need to progress the story, and it's just simply too much work for me to farm up everything I need to farm up, and I'm like, fuck it, I'm done. I'm sure that will happen. I would be stunned if it doesn't. I will be stunned if it doesn't. But, you know, do you think the enemy design is disappointing? I mean, you know, I don't think in Elden Ring the overall world building is anywhere near as interesting as what we saw in Bloodborne, and that includes enemy designs, NPCs, environments. It just feels very King Arthur, which is fine, but it's kind of tropey, and I've seen that a lot in games. And coming off Bloodborne, which I get was a riff on Lovecraft, but it was a relatively cool riff, and I hadn't seen that really before that way. So, I think it shows that he is in a different class than Will, and he thinks lesser of him, says Lando. Yeah. I think, or maybe he was just doing a risk analysis and said, well, I think the joke's funny, but now I know I have to perform, and I think I can take this guy. Here's what I wonder. Like I said earlier, or maybe I said this last night, there's absolutely a racial component to this that I don't fully understand yet. Whether it's white people saying it's not a big deal, but black people saying, oh, you don't understand the relationship black women have with their hair, whether it's black on black violence, I don't know. Whether it's the people on Twitter that are talking about, what was the white at the Oscars, like there's not enough diversity at the Oscars, and then you're seeing these racist people talking about, oh, well, this is what happens, you know. There's a lot of racism under the surface of this fucking thing, that I don't have the intelligence to parse what's causing it to be as loaded. But I will say that if Chris Rock was a white guy and Will Smith was who he is, I imagine we would have seen security on the stage almost immediately. I made a joke on Twitter last night. You ever saw the movie The Bodyguard with Kevin Costner and Whitney Houston? I mean, in the movies at the Oscars, which is where the finale occurred, you know, there was security all over and backstage. And the minute somebody makes a move, you got 4 guys on you. This guy walked up on stage, punched somebody, sat back down, went to commercial break, won an award. I mean, damn, you'd think there'd be some fucking... It's like Disneyland. All the rumors and it's like, oh, Disneyland, no, there's, unmarked cops and undercover cops all over the place, and tech and this and that and the other to spy on everybody. Nothing safest place on earth. And then you see these viral videos that come out of families beating the shit out of each other in Toontown in front of other people, and this random guy coming up and choking somebody out and kids crying. And after maybe 8 minutes, a totally ineffective security guy shows up. I mean, that was the fascinating part to me is like, don't you guys have anything to prevent this from happening? Or when it does happen, don't you have security that can kind of, leap to the rescue or something? Stephen A. Smith, I don't know who that is, was very vocal against what Will Smith did. He hated how a black man slapped another black man live in the biggest stage in Hollywood. Yeah, I mean, but I think the only reason that's bad, and I get it, if you're a black dude, you're like, Jesus Christ, man. now all these fucking racists are gonna, but I think if you don't really swim in racist waters, I don't think you look at it that way. I don't think you look at it like, oh, this is a bad look for black people. I think this is a bad look for Will Smith. So Brett Moore says, I was wondering how tall Jaffe is. I'm 5'6". I hated when girls would say he'd be cute if he were taller, and then you grow up and stop caring. Oh, God, yes. Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? What do I care? You should let's put it this way. If you're short, and I'm short, I mean, it's okay if you feel the way you feel about it, but the women who are going to get with you because you're tall or not get with you because you're short, there's nothing you can do about that anyway. And who gives a shit? Plenty of women will get with you, whatever size you are. Will Smith, says Stoner Joe, hello Stoner Joe, created more entertainment hours in 20 seconds than millions in their lifetime. You mean with what happened last night, or just in general in his career? If it was Rock's wish to not press charges, it's done. No need for anyone else to. Yeah, although I saw something online saying that it would actually be the district attorney that presses charges, but I don't fucking know. I don't fucking know. Touchy says, it's not like ratings even matter at this point. Everyone sees it on Twitter 10 minutes later. Well, yeah, people who are going online saying, oh, it was staged. No, it wasn't staged. Because there's a couple of reasons it wasn't staged. One is when Janet Jackson accidentally flashed a nipple, the FCC fined her over $100,000. Or ABC or whoever was broadcasting the Super Bowl. Will Smith saying fuck multiple times on live TV, even though there was a delay, that's not staged. That's not a bit. The other thing, the reason it's not staged is because if this was staged, it's moronic. Because like you're saying, Touchy, it's like everybody saw it on Twitter. It's like, oh, I need to go pay Hulu now $49 for the month to watch the Oscars in hopes what? Somebody's going to hit again? Come on. It's stupid. Oh, right. Jarvie says if stuff like what happened with Chris and Will at the Oscars, I would actually care and watch. Sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Gravity says, I can't believe we call the incident Janet Jackson flashing nipple and not Justin Timberlake ripping clothing off Janet Jackson. Well, Justin Timberlake wasn't fined by the FCC and didn't get, there's a documentary on it where Justin Timberlake went to Les Moonves or the head of CBS or whatever and was like totally apologetic. And Janet Jackson was like, basically, fuck you, no. I'm not going to fucking act like I did anything wrong, and so she was the one that actually got the shit end of it. Apparently Blessing, on Kind of Funny, blocked Hogue, the lawyer guy, after Hogue was disagreeing with him about last night on Twitter. Well, I know, I saw, here's a guy, I'm going to tell you something. Here's a guy, and I don't have anything against this guy. I don't know him. But every interaction I've had with Paris from Kind of Funny, or every tweet he's done that's not specifically just about video gaming, I'm like, he and I would not get along. Like, he tweets something out about it today that was kind of like what Will Smith did was justified. And I'm just like, dude, why? It's let me see if I can find that real quick. Again, I'm just bringing it up because you're talking about Kind of Funny, but I don't know what Blessing said that would get himself blocked. Paris Twitter. What did this guy say? Well, that's actually Paris, the location. That's I want to see what Well, I can't find him, but he was going on about it. Salvador wants to talk about the slow death of G4. I mean, what do you want from me on that? It's stupid. I mean, look. Anybody who thought G4 was going to make a comeback, in that format was dumb, right? And I don't mean that like disrespectfully. Well, you called them dumb, Jeffy. I don't. Right? Look, I like some of those people over there. I don't dislike any of them. I just don't know most of them. But I know, Kevin. I know Adam. They're good people. I like them both very, very much. But the idea in the age of YouTube and Twitch and all the other live streaming opportunities on Instagram and TikTok, that you are going to get the audience that has migrated massively to those services by putting on a traditional show, I think is not wise. And what's interesting about it, and this one I want to have Kevin on the show for a number of reasons. But you know, it's a great point. So if Nicholas brings up Victor Lucas, who I like a great deal. Well, Victor's show, and maybe he does gangbusters on and the YouTube is just like, yeah, I'll take a little bit of, but it's huge on Twitch or something. But he doesn't have a very big YouTube presence. But his show is probably one of the most professionally polished shows on YouTube regarding video games. Kevin had a wonderful kind of radio show on YouTube, live stream he did every morning. Didn't do all that well. It seems anytime any of these people try, not these G4 people, but just people in general, try to say, ooh, hell, look at Katzenberg, who did that, what was that site he had that crashed and burned, the short form professionally made videos on that app that was like raised $1 billion and went nowhere. That guy, the idea that it's like, oh, here's what YouTube and Twitch people have been missing. Let's go with real polished production value. It never works because that's not why people are watching YouTube or Twitch. I'm not saying production value is not nice. Of course. I wish my shit had more production value, but I don't have the skills. But that's not why they're watching it. Quibi. That's right. That's what it was, Joey. So my point is that if you want to talk about the failings of G4, I mean, I don't know why anyone thought their initial take would be successful. Now, I guess they're trying to go more raunchy, which, hey, man, whatever pays the bills, as long as it's not offending, and you're not fucking up your own morality, I think that's great. You should go, have fun with that. So I don't know. Thank you, Luca. Luca says, I do motion graphics. I'd be happy to help you. I think what I really need to do, I was talking to Ricardo the other day, I need to hire an artist to just come in. I need to hire a bunch of people. And I just, it's ADD, man. It's easier for me to just get to the show and start talking, which I know is like, well, great, Jaffe, you fucking moron. How are you going to get anything done that way? I know. Nick T says, Jaffe, will you have time to plan this afternoon show if you're not doing it now? We'll find out. But what I realized, Nick T, almost immediately, so let's wrap this up, because I'm going to wrap these up at 11. Here's what I want to tell you. I like having the just chat part of the show, but it's not serving the show, right? So I'm thinking what I'm going to do, assuming people like this format, which is I'll probably plan it a little better in the future, have like 3 or 4 topics that are lined up. Today, I didn't think we were going to do anything but, go through the news. I guess we could do that, but I don't think that would work very well. Because then it's like, you just don't know what you're going to get. Like if I go to Drudge Report right now, let's see what's on Drudge. Most of it's Will Smith. They're talking about Russia. Maybe we could. But the point is, though, I like this format. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do I'm going to do this format, but I'm going to do it on Twitch so it doesn't confuse people on YouTube that are like getting recommendations, or they're getting heads up that this thing uh, uh, is live, and they're like, this is not Gavin and Games. What am I watching? So in that, I like it. But yeah, I think it's going to be more of a Twitch special case kind of thing. But I'll do it this week every day and see if people tend to like it. If you want to know my my Twitch address, follow me on Twitch, which a lot of you do, and I'll put up the link up there because this is where this will be. But I will leave this one up, of course. Axiom, thank you, buddy. He says the biggest problem with G4 was they followed the MTV blueprint rather than a gamer's aspect. G4 should have been a mix of Discovery and ESPN. I mean, that would have cost a lot more money, though. I think ultimately G4, no one watches TV anymore. And if you're going to live stream, but you're going to make it all polished and all that. I mean, it's weird that there was a mentality of we need to be a lot more professional looking, and that'll bring people here. I don't know. I hope you do more interviews, says AR. I will. I think the hard part about interviews is, I kind of, I have my reputation now as an interviewer. And I know that people, are like, you can't go on Jaffe's show, and PR and stuff like that. So I can't really go after a lot of the big fish. And beyond that, it's not really, it takes a while to prep an interview, to get it set up, to make sure it's all working. And you're really at the mercy of how popular your subject is. And so I worry about putting my time into getting good at that if I'm only going to be as successful as, oh, look, I got lucky and got the flavor of the month on. Well, then what does that say about the quality of the show, So I don't. It's something I'm working on. Something I'm thinking. Working on. Who is Larry Lawton from WWE? The hard part is that nobody responds to David the PR Nightmare Jaffe. People respond to me. Trust me, I've had a number of direct messages, people saying, I would love to come on your show, but PR will not let me. Names that you would be like, oh, shit. I'm like, yeah, you goddamn right. Andreas says, PlayStation just posted the most random thing. Why is it always Monday and sort don't give up? I don't know. Larry Lawton's an ex-bank robber. I don't know anything about him. I'll look him up. All right, fellas. Well, look, this is the format for the week. We are going to try it for the week. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think right now, the last couple minutes of the show. Did you enjoy this? Are you like, dude, don't fucking waste your time? I'm still doing Gavin and Games. Gavin and Games is coming up this afternoon. Stay tuned on the Twitter. But I'm going to spend the week doing this format as well. It's going to be over on Twitch. I'll put all of that up on the Twitter so you know how to find it. But let me put up a poll. You guys tell me. Is this a good morning format? Hang on. No, it sucks, fucker. Or yes, I want to fuck it. Touchy likes it. Great pre-show. Sod says more entertaining than Gavin and Games. Fuck you, SM. You don't use Twitter, Morgan? Well, it'll be on Discord as well. RPG says, doesn't that make a lot for you, Jaffe? I don't understand your question. Yeah, I'll put it up on the Discord. I think juggling platforms, getting to interact with you only if it's certain times, is a bit confusing. Well, it wouldn't be juggling. It would be 9 o'clock in the morning for Twitch, and then say 2 to 3, depending on the day, for Gavin Games on YouTube. What do we got? Yes, I want to fuck it. No, it sucks, fucker. Okay, very good. We already talked about Chris and Will. Making the morning show subscriber only would net you more subs, says Gravity. Could be something to think about. Jaffe joins into the bathtub with Simp God. Yay, man. Whatever it takes, baby. All right, I'm off to plan the actual Gabbing of Games. I'll see some of you guys hopefully back on YouTube later this afternoon. And if you enjoyed this format, it'll be going up tomorrow on Twitch at 9 or 9:30, just depending. Be well. Enjoy yourself. Stay safe. Blah, 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 blah. All right, Bell. Thank you. Seriously, appreciate it.